My name is Nick DeFrank, and I'm going to talk about what I think my definition of education is. And to me, education is more or less not necessarily a school or a schooling of any sort, but just a learning experience that anybody has ever gone through. And not only would it teach material to a person, but it would also teach to the person. That is to say, teach maturity, teach life lessons, and just a better sense of self and where one fits into society. And like I said, the purpose of education is to not only to teach the material, as in school, or if you go to vocational school and they teach you how to do a craft, but it's also teaching to the human being behind the material that is learning all of this, and teaching them how to critically think about issues and solve them themselves, how they build a sense of individuality, and just how they learn to educate themselves further in life if they choose to educate others. My overall school experience was it wasn't very problematic. It was pretty standard. I was pretty introverted all throughout school, so I managed to stick to a close group of friends and didn't really branch out into lots of groups of other people, which I don't know if it was really a bad thing or a good thing, but well, I'm here anyway, and that's how it worked out. My elementary school experience was pretty, there weren't a lot of minorities in my school, so we didn't experience a lot of cultural diversity. I think in my 6th grade class, there weren't any ESL learners. There were not anybody of a different culture as far as I could tell, and pretty much just not segregated, but being that we were in a somewhat small town, it wasn't very diverse. And in junior high, it opened up a little, and maybe we saw some Hispanic, Latino, Latina, maybe a couple African Americans, but once again, it was still in a small town, so didn't really experience a whole lot of diversity. In fact, I didn't really see a whole lot of diversity up until college. Not that I didn't know how to deal with it at that point. I had traveled to larger cities where I had met that, and my parents were always eager to show me how to behave in such situations. It wasn't anything completely foreign to me. In my neighborhood, where I lived all throughout my childhood, it was pretty. Well, it was a lower middle class neighborhood. I guess there were upper middle class houses around, but it's pretty much just middle class working families that inhabited this neighborhood and the surrounding schools. I knew that there were a couple Hispanic families in the neighborhood, but other than that, I don't really know. My family sort of tended to stick to ourselves, and not even really talk to the neighbors. Honestly, I can't remember any neighbors we had a lot of contact with. However, from birth until I was 4, I did live in California, and I experienced a lot of diversity when I was there. I actually remember my kindergarten class was half taught in Spanish and half taught in English. And I can't remember if they separated the Spanish-taught children and the English-taught children when that happened, because it was so long ago. But I do know that half the lesson time was spent in Spanish and half spent in English. And passionate people I've met throughout my life that have encouraged me in the path I've chosen would definitely be my parents, first of all, because there's just sort of that source of backing that you really need when you make tough decisions of where you want to go in life and really set yourself on a track to get somewhere. And other than that, throughout high school I had an orchestra teacher, Mr. Kukis, I remember his name, who was always really passionate about what he taught, and was always eager to stay with kids afterwards to help them with techniques or whatever. And if somebody needed something like a score for some sort of competition, he was always glad to go out of his way to try and get that for somebody. And then after that, Mr. Madzi, my high school video and film production teacher, was also a very passionate individual. He really pushed his students to focus themselves into their own individual methods to achieve what they wanted to achieve, which is a really empowering way of teaching. I hope to emulate that someday when I choose to teach. And finally, my brother is a really passionate person. Well, in the way I had a rough time in my first semester of college, and he was really there for me at that point in time, and really pushed me to sort of get out of a, I don't know, dare I say, cliche rut, and really move on and become a stronger individual because of that. So that's sort of my experience as a learner throughout my childhood. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing everybody else's films as well.